Hey everybody, it's Laura Eisenhower. I hope everybody's doing well and had a good week, whatever that means. Good. I'm sure it's been a mixed bag because that's how it normally is. It's not good or bad, right? So anyway, I have some updates I'll probably share at the end for subscribers, but I want to just get the weekly report talked about first, because I might share this with non-subscribers just because it's a very significant week leading up to the new moon on Saturday. And so at the end, there's just some updates for subscribers as far as call-in shows coming up, and also what comes with the subscription for new subscribers, and things kind of like change and evolve also. And I'm always trying to add more and bring more in, and making sure I do weekly or bi-weekly astro reports is important. So they might be written, they might be in video format. So anybody who's a non-subscriber who might see this, I'm not sure, how much I'm going to share just yet. But if you see this and you want maybe to get a weekly report, it might not be a bad idea to look at my website, cosmicgaia.org, to find out about signing up for a subscription. And listen all the way to the end to see, what comes with the subscription. But yeah, this is a pretty significant week. We are heading into the equinox, actually starting early Monday. The sun enters Libra, and it's the halfway point in the astrological year. And, Libra is a really awesome energy. It's all about balance. It's all about beauty. It's all about harmony, about relationships, our relationship with ourself, our relationship with the earth, our relationship with spirit, cosmos, everything. I mean, it's a chance for us to assess where we're out of balance and how to bring ourselves into balance. And so it comes with some challenging aspects, and the challenges are blessings. They always are, because they help us to understand what needs change. So when there's tension, when there's pain, when there's friction, when there's conflict, it's an opportunity to evolve and advance ourselves. We tend to look at it through the lens of it taking us down, or being a misfortune, or being a failure, or being a problem or an issue. But it wouldn't show up and make a noise if it wasn't something that we needed to deal with, transmute, clear, maybe shift our perceptions about. And because we're in this Libra time, it might come up particularly with friends or significant others. And just about, some of the aspects coming up. We had our final Jupiter-Neptune square, which was yesterday, which was Saturday. And it really has helped to open people's hearts, expanding people's empathy and compassion for one another. But it also, causes a person to ask, what is truth? What is fact? What is fiction? So when we look at this community, or, a lot that all of us, notice that we might want to call community as far as truthers, disclosure, ascension, and all these things that are staying on top of what's going on in the world, what's going on sort of more of a multidimensional level, larger picture level, connected to dark agendas, timelines, Stargate, DNA, all these, different topics, contact experiences. I mean, the rabbit hole goes very deep, as we know. Different dark agendas, mind control, dark technologies that have been used, and, different agendas that have been breathing down our neck. So I kind of lost my track there, just kind of listing the list of all the things. But the Jupiter-Neptune square. So it causes a lot of us to, ask and question what's real, what isn't real. But it really comes down to, what we consider, truth to be, what works for us, what doesn't work for us. Yes, there is information out there that is important to know, that isn't about a belief or a non-belief, but the way we perceive it, the way we process it, what we choose to do with it, is where belief systems come in. And so we've been challenged with 3 major squares throughout the year, the first one being in January, the second one being sometime in June, and the last one, which was a tight square, which means friction and challenge, was yesterday, which wraps it up for the Jupiter-Neptune square. It also, can be overwhelming, because we're mixing Jupiter, which is all about expansion, and the higher mind, with Neptune, which is all about multidimensional energy, but yet they're challenged. And so, sometimes there's a feeling of like too much to process, too much to wrap our heads around. A lot that's, opening us up and expanding us. But yet, if we move too quickly and we don't have discernment, then we might find ourselves having to kind of rewind a little bit. So that's, kind of coming to an end, but it still lingers. I mean, just because an aspect comes and goes doesn't mean it's gone. we want to kind of reconcile the influence it had on us and find a healthy way to manage it. So those are things that, we I'm sure are all looking at. So there's a very significant T-square coming up, and it's called the Cardinal T-Square. And T-squares represent stressful situations. They tempt us to want to control outcomes. They tend to push our buttons. They tend to feel a little overwhelming because we might notice that things aren't going exactly where we'd like them to go. Maybe somebody says something that makes us upset and we want to control the outcome or control the way they think, particularly with this Libra energy. We also have Mercury and Venus in the sign of Libra, and the new moon. So a lot of the things coming up are going to have to do with our relationship, with others. But of course, we're in relationship with a lot more than just people, most especially ourselves. So what's so important in this ascension process is sacred union, synthesizing our DNA strands, going through this alchemy now that the ether is available, and purifying. And purifying our inner elementals actually purifies the nucleic acids of our DNA and allows it to upgrade. I just did an interview with somebody named Amanda Drain, and that'll be on my podcast. And she's somebody to check out for DNA activations, and light language is how she does this. And it's very interesting. So that could be a really great resource for people to help them stay balanced during this time. So the T-square requires greater self-awareness and discipline, grounding, and just kind of like, understanding that it's coming is helpful. Just like if a big storm is coming, you would want to prepare, make sure you've got enough food for your house. If your lights go out, maybe have a generator, you know what I mean? That's why I kind of like to share this sort of stuff. It helps us to be prepared. So yeah, I mean, a T-square is pretty stressful. But why does it have to be stressful? It doesn't have to be stressful. The only stressful part is when we want to control it. So we just have to allow a little bit and observe and decide within ourselves, what does this work for us? Does it not work for us? And sort of assess it from a place of an observer. And then when it comes time to make decisions, we can make decisions. A new moon would be a time of planting seeds and holding intentions and beginning to guide the energies forward, kind of nurturing dreams and visions and goals. But we don't have to move too quickly before the new moon, even though maybe a lot will come to the surface. So what does this T-square involve? It involves the moon. It involves, the moon's going to be Leo, Virgo, moving into, Libra. It involves the moon because the moon moves quickly. The moon and the north node in Cancer. It involves Saturn and Pluto and the south node in Capricorn. And again, Saturn and Pluto are in the sign of Capricorn, and Mercury and Venus at the apex in Libra. And so the Venus energy will be squaring Saturn and squaring the nodes midweek. That's when it'll start to really pick up. And then Mercury squaring Pluto on Thursday. And, Mercury and Venus are close to each other. Saturn and Pluto aren't far from each other. So they're sort of making some stressful angles. Watch, the challenges of communication. Just be true to yourself and accepting of the way other people view reality. And if you wish to control the way they see things, it's better obviously to come from a place of, wow, this is triggering me. This is hurting my feelings. This is the way it's making me feel. This is what it's bringing up. This is what I'm afraid of. I mean, we just have to be honest and transparent. I'm a Libra. I got a lot of Libra in my chart. So I'm just like, buckle your seatbelts, just breathing through all this. Going to be a really, really good partner. And hopefully, it'll all go smooth. So yeah, when we talk about the nodes, the north and south node have to do with the larger picture, our deeper soul journey, the direction our souls want us to go in. And when it has to do with a larger picture as far as where the nodes are in the sky, this is a really amazing time to come into balance with ourselves, and, looking at, what is getting in the way of our health and well-being? What are we doing that is throwing us out of balance? What dynamic do we have with others that just isn't working out? How can we adjust ourselves? Because really at the end of the day, we can only control ourselves. Can't really control others, but we can at least appeal to their sensitivities and compassion and, help inspire them to understand things from our side. And we got to do the same for them and not be controlling and argumentative and just be watchful of falling into bad communication patterns. So the reason I'm focusing a lot on the relationship thing is, again, all the Libras have to do with relationship, but again, relationship with self, relationship with the earth, relationship with community, relationship with the cosmos, spirit. And so it's a powerful time to see what is not going right in order to bring it into balance, in order to create corrections so that it can go right. So no matter how bumpy it is, with this squaring what and this planet doing this, blah, 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 we will feel the incentive to find balance. Now the sun is going to be opposite Chiron. We've had Chiron opposite Mercury and Venus, and now it's opposite the sun. So oppositions, it kind of swings us back and forth. So as we feel a creative momentum, we might kind of be in the high and low of everything's going great, everything's so harmonious, and then boom, something might happen, and all of a sudden you feel like you're just being thrown back to your inner child, just like you want to crawl in a fetal position, you just cannot breathe. And it's important when you try and communicate, and I don't want to say how to do it or what to do, I'm telling myself this too, to just really take 5 minutes, take as much time as one needs to come from a place of, just being able to say, hey, okay, what do I do with that? And to know that it's probably going to feel a lot more extreme than it actually is. The thing with triggers is it takes us into something that amplifies it to much more than the current situation is probably presenting itself. But not always. I mean, sometimes there is a really traumatic situation going on, but what I love about call-in shows is that we each are handling this in our own way. So I'm going to try and do a call-in show October 2nd or 3rd. I know that's right after the new moon, but it's a better time to talk because that's going to be the time where we're really moving forward. Whereas before the new moon, it's really about just trying to get things on track, trying to get our goals and visions intact with the greater clarity and understanding behind what we need to work on and what we'd like to see change. And without trying to control the situation, can we change it like an artist would change something that it's painting? Can we just inspire it into new forms? Because obviously creativity comes from inspiration, comes from the imagination, without being rigid, without being controlling, without being blaming, and without being like a victim. Even though, we slip into victim, and that's fine, but, we don't want to remain there. So just look at this week like assessing everything. And then when the new moon comes Saturday, which will be in Libra, just holding those visions, dreams, and intentions to move forward. And Chiron's going to give us the triggers, and the squared aspects are going to give us the challenge of how do we handle those triggers and communicate effectively so that we can create harmony and we can create goodness and we can create balance. So these catalysts of triggers or pain or wounds or anything that kind of does that is a chance for us to see, well, when that happens, what do we do with it? Do we handle it in a wise way? Do we handle it responsibly? Are we accountable? Do we present ourselves to others in a way that can foster harmony and goodness? Do we hide away? Do we repress it? Do we run away? Do we just want to sabotage everything because we're afraid? I mean, so it's a really good opportunity to look at it. Now, if you find that you can't get into the call-in show or the times aren't good for you, just please send me an email if you're a subscriber, a paid subscriber, which is different than being on my Facebook page or being on my YouTube channel. I have paid subscribers that are $15 a month. And so there's a special email, cosmicgaiasubscribers.com. If you're not a subscriber, please, don't email me there just so I can differentiate, but please feel free to post on Cosmic Gaia group and share your thoughts and share your heart. And, I like to interact there. But the thing with subscriptions is it's for people to get into get into a session with me sooner than what the calendar shows online, if I can do it, to have access to call-in shows and podcasts. So it's a good investment, I think. And I'm always, trying to bring more in and, find just, really good working model and compensate for the times that I'm traveling. So anyway, new moon, Venus is going to make a harmonious aspect to Jupiter. So that's going to, smooth things out. And yeah, so it's just another bumpy ride, another bumpy week, but it doesn't have to be debilitating. It doesn't have to be terrible. Pain means growth. Pain is a beautiful thing. It's growth. And, even when you have physical pain, to mask that pain doesn't always help. Sometimes you have to sit in it and really talk to it and really understand it, because, pain is movement. Unless we ignore it, then it's stagnant. It's movement if we can step into it and get to know it a little bit more because it's stuck energy. Anyway, so I hope this was helpful. I hope there's no tech glitches. This is my second attempt of recording this, and I hope it sounds okay. And again, I'm just going to be as interactive as possible. I'll send this in a newsletter with some further updates. I just don't want to get into all the updates on this video. I think I shared a few. I do think this is a good one to share, though, with my Cosmic Gaia page, just because it is one of those weeks. And anyway, much love to everybody. I hope it goes well. And if you are single, oh, I should have said this in the beginning. It's difficult when people are focusing on talking about relationships. And I do know I said it's not just about relationships, it's about relationship itself and other things. But just know this might be a really amazing opportunity to look at old patternings of partners and just really setting intentions for what you're really, wanting to call forth. Obviously, we want soulmates and twin flame types, but, it's just good to look at some of the early patternings of childhood, the way our parents were. And I mean, that's why it's so good to look at a chart. I'm telling you, it gives us so much information, helps us to understand what's unconscious, helps us to understand our agreements, our contracts, karmic stuff, things from past lives. And I want to just, my hope is to just really be able to assist people with that tool and make it easy and make myself accessible without overloading. So I can, not diminish my skills in interpretation, because, who wants a tired Laura? Anyway, I love you all and don't want to continue to just talk and ramble on. But anyway, my heart's with you and happy Libra ahead. And I'm excited. My birthday, September 29th, right as the new moon launches us into the next cycle. So that's kind of exciting. And anyway, take care, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye.